If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do.
Hey, it's Dave and Josh. Welcome to the study Bible portion of the Video Bible. So let's jump right in and look at what's happening in this verse. So I remember when we were storyboarding this verse, just to kind of tell on myself and share funny with the audience, I remember reading this and saying, okay, this is great. We're trying to build a video Bible cover to cover, verse by verse, and it can be hard to illustrate certain things. So I read this and think, oh, a wave, that's great. I can do that. And so you said, if you remember, you said that's not the essence of this verse. So why don't you go into the essence of the verse, because that spiritually ministered to me, and I think it'll minister to a lot of people with the Word of God.
Yeah, if you remember last time we were looking at the verses right before this, and just in general, a healthy way to read the Bible is to read it in context. And so these verses, though they're their own slide in the Video Bible, are built upon the previous verses, where James is talking about counting it all joy when you meet trials of various kinds, because it grows perseverance within us. It leads us to maturity as we joyfully receive whatever the Lord, our Father, hands to us. Then he immediately says, but if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God. And so it's like, well, what does that have to do with one another? And it's like, well, I know that when I'm going through hard things, I need a lot of wisdom. How to endure them, how to do that well, how to think, what to say, what to do. I need wisdom. And James's reminder here for us is that the wisdom that we need also comes from the Father. The trial is from the Father, and the wisdom that we need to get through it is from the Father. And he talks about going to the Father, seeking Him, seeking God for the wisdom that we need. But then he says, but when you ask, when we go to Him, we must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. And so that's that picture of, the slide that we have is this man who is securely fastened on the rock. But in the midst of the storm, the world around him is falling apart. The storm is raging. There's a ship in the background that's wrecked. And yet this man is secure. How is that possible? To be secure on the rock when everything else is crazy? It's like, well, because he's on the rock. He's trusting in and looking to something that's above the storm, that the storm can't uproot and shift. That's the Lord. Throughout the Bible, throughout the Psalms, we're told that the Lord is a rock. He's a mighty fortress. He's a stronghold. Jesus himself talks about building our lives on the rock, on His Word. So that's that picture there, that in the midst of trials of all kinds, the wisdom that we need to endure comes from the Lord, and that it is actually possible to build our lives on the rock. This is where, if you remember from our first episode, we mentioned that James is oftentimes reflecting on Jesus' teaching in the Sermon on the Mount. That story of Jesus saying, let me tell you what He's like, the man who hears these words of mine and does them. He's like the man who builds his house upon the rock. The storms come and they beat against that house, but the house stands because it's been well built. This is James reflecting on that passage. He has that teaching in his mind, and he's going, yes, count it all joy when the trials come, and the wisdom that you need to endure is from the Lord, but ask in faith with no doubting, or you'll be like a wave of the sea. And so this man has the waves of the sea all around him, and yet he's rooted. Why? Because he's on the rock. He's asking in faith with no doubting.
Yeah, and that's what I love. Man, I loved when you said that about, I remember picturing that, and I love what our artist team did and what they came up here for the Video Bible, that you have a man planted on the rock with just waves, a torrent of waves just going around him. And right when you said that, I just had that image in my head when we were in that storyboarding session. And this verse really means a lot to me when it comes in verse 7. It says, but this person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord, for he is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And I love James because James, in many ways, he's a shover. He's a poker. And he constantly shoves me personally and butts up against me, but he's doing it out of love, right? He's an older brother. He's a pillar of the church. And he's saying, you know, what I want to say is, Lord, thy will be done, and just kind of throw my hands up. And James is poking up against me personally and saying, that's really not a deep faith, Dave, just to not engage the Lord. And so he pokes me and he shoves me and he says, be like Jacob, get to the river bottom, wrestle with the Lord, grapple with the Lord, because Moses was allowed to do that, and the Lord said he bent his ear. Jesus says, "Want not for you have asked not." So if you're just going through tremendous pain in your life now, wrestle with the Lord, for He is good and gracious and kind. The Simon Peter, he told, the devil wants to sift you like flour, but the Lord was willing to be merciful and gracious. And if you're just on a mountaintop and you're having the greatest day of your life, just tell the Lord that. I mean, He just wants to hear that. He wants people to sit at His feet, and He's just good and gracious. And I love this verse, how it's just so much going, like the sea. It's so much going on in this verse. It's so much swirling around.
Yeah. And what I love, I mean, in the drawing pictures this, and this is important to know too, there's a line of thinking in the world within the Christian community that says, if I follow Jesus, everything will go okay. And anybody that's lived in the world just knows that's not true. And what I love about this verse, and what I love about the drawing of this verse, is that though the man is secure, like he's still getting wet. You know what I mean? Like the waves are beating and they're rolling up on him. The spray of the water, I'm sure he can taste salt water in his mouth. He feels the wind rocking him. He hears it. The environment, though he's rooted on the rock, is not calm and quiet and peaceful and serene. It's violent.
Yeah, and he's looking at his boat
and he's looking at his boat that's sinking, and yet he's anchored. He's going nowhere. The rock will not be moved by the sea. Everything else is, but if he stays anchored to the rock, he'll be okay. And on one level, it's like, oh, well, that's terrifying. What if he lets go of the rock? Well, let's go of the rock. And then that's when just the idea that Jesus says through Paul in Romans chapter 8, oh, don't worry. God has His hands on you as well. Yes, lay hold of the rock, but know that there's nothing that even you can do to take yourself out of the love of God, out of the Father's hand. A verse that I've come back to over and over again is our lives are in His hands. And so that doesn't mean that we won't experience the waves and all of that. We see that here, but He is secure because He's rooted to the rock. And more than that, in a sense, the rock is holding on to Him.
Amen. Well, that's it for us. Please stay tuned for an important message about the work we're doing and how you can get involved in the Video Bible. We need your help. We have the ability to put this into 30 languages, and all we need is the funding. So stay tuned for that. I've known great personal pain and brokenness in my life. And this is the only thing that ever gave me any peace, because it pointed me to Jesus. And that is the peace that surpasses all understanding, right? But sadly, this is not accessible to all people. People that can't read, people that are dyslexic, people that are elderly, that have a hard time concentrating. There's just so much that can't access the Bible. And so we need to put it into a format that's more accessible. And how we plan to do that is we're going to illustrate every single verse of this, and then we're going to put the audio track on the top of it, and we're going to create the Video Bible. What is amazing about that is that I've spent 14 years working in an international ministry doing languages. And so I know a lot about the world of ministry. And not only can we create this Bible for you and for your family, what's also amazing is the publishers of this Bible have given us the audio track in over 30 languages. And so you can help me by doing a crowdfunding for your family, but I can actually get this to Iran. Okay, I can put this in a video Bible in Farsi. Okay, that's mind-boggling. And we've been working on this after hours as a moonlighting project for well over a year. And we're ready to do this. Okay, this is a doable thing, but we need the financing. Okay, so we need 1,000 people to give $20 a month. You can go to the homepage, go to videobible.com, and you can learn all about that. But it's just really amazing what God has done. He's brought together all these great videographers and theologians and artists, and just amazing, right? And he's done it through a broken person. And so we can do this together, right? It's like, it's just really, really exciting. And we'd love for you to be part of this journey and just come along with us. So go to videobible.com, check it out, share it with your friends, like it, and just, follow us along the journey, and we'll be glad to just have you. Thank you.